Alright, here is section 9.3, part 3, 30, 60, 90 triangles continued. We're going to look at a couple of sections here and then we're going to write our final conjecture. So for the first example, we're given that side DF is equal to 4, so I'm going to label this as 4. And we want to find the remaining sides. So we have two sides left of this 30, 60, 90 triangle. They're not marked in there, but they are 30 and 60. So the way that I like to do this is I like to write the ratio of my three sides. So, and I'm going to use some variables in here as well. So I know that DG is my smallest side, so I'm going to let that be A. Really, you can use any variable you like, but I like to use A. And then if DG is A, I know that the longer leg has to be A times root 3. And if that's A and that's A root 3, I know that the hypotenuse is going to be twice as long as the short leg, so that has to be 2A. So if you notice, the hypotenuse has two labels by it. The legs have one label, the hypotenuse has two labels. So this side, which has our two pieces of information, is always going to give us a little equation. So notice I put an equal sign in there. So I'm going to rewrite this over here. 2A is equal to 4. I'm going to solve that for A, divide both sides by 2, and I get A is equal to 2. So once that I have A as 2, I can find my other remaining sides. So I know that DG I had labeled A, so that's going to be 2. And I have FG, I had that labeled A times root 3, so that's just going to be 2 root 3. So again, you can use any variables you want. I'm going to use A just because I know in some of our other problems they're going to use X's and Y's and Z's and maybe some V's. And I don't want to have the same variables. So short leg A, long leg A root 3, hypotenuse 2A. Right, moving on to the second example. In this one we know that DG is 4 and we want to find the remaining side. So I'm going to let this side be 4. And again, I'm going to use A root 3, and 2A. So my short leg is going to be A. Notice right here, this side has two labels, so that's going to be my little equation, which is already solved for me. My longer leg is going to be A root 3, and my hypotenuse is going to be 2A. Again, here's my right angle, here's my 60, here's my 30. Those will normally be labeled for you. So once I have this very simple equation, I know that A is 4. I can find FG. FG is labeled A root 3, and then I just have to substitute 4 in for that, so that's 4 root 3. And I know that FD is 2A, so substitute in 4 there, 2 times 4, which is 8. So longer leg 4 root 3, hypotenuse 8. Alright, moving on to one more example down at the bottom. So for this one, I know that DF is 2x. So here's 2x. Again, I'm going to label them A root 3, and 2A. So my short leg gets an A, my long leg gets an A root 3, and my hypotenuse gets a 2A. So here again, I have two pieces of information. They have to be equal to each other. I have 2A is equal to 2x, divide both sides by 2. I get A is equal to x. So this is a little bit weird because we have a variable equal to a variable, but let's go ahead and everywhere we see an A over here, I'm going to substitute in an x. So I know that DG is A, so A is equal to x, so that's just x. And I know that FG is A root 3, again substitute in x for A, so that's going to be x root 3. Alright, so there you have it. Alright, moving on to our conjecture here. So feel free to pause and see if you can fill this out on your own, and then restart the video when you're ready. So our 30, 60, 90 right triangle conjecture: in a 30, 60, 90 right triangle, if the shorter leg has a length x, kind of like what we had right up here, then the longer leg has a length of, we just calculated, x root 3, and the hypotenuse has a length 2x. So the ratio of the short leg to the long leg to the hypotenuse for the triangle is x to x root 3 to 2x, and then if we simplify this, it just becomes 1 to root 3 to 2. Right, so that's all for this video. Again, make sure you write down questions if you have them, and go on to the next video, which has a few more examples of 45, 45, 90s and 30, 60, 90 triangles.